Previously on Gaines Poker.
We are live!
I really hope you guys enjoyed that last video. Got a lot of positive feedback from it. Something different, going live for the first time ever. And who knows, maybe we'll do it again soon. But for this video, we're still in El Paso, got some rest, just beat the closing time for the hotel complimentary breakfast, which was simple and delicious, just the way I like it, because that's me. I'm a simple guy. After that, hit up the fitness center. Not a big space or anything, but as I said, I'm simple. I don't need much to get the job done. All hotel gyms are different. Some have next to no equipment at all, but others, like this one, have more than normal. They had the typical pieces of cardio equipment: treadmill, elliptical, bike. They had a bench, dumbbells, med balls, bands, kettlebells, a plyo box, Bosu ball, and it even had some TRX straps. And another thing that they had was this monitor thing on the wall that had different exercise on it and programs. So if you were a complete newbie, you just pick a program and it tells you exactly what to do. A no-brainer in my opinion. So even on trips/vacation, there's no excuse for anyone to not do something to stay active. Not having a commercial gym and having minimal equipment to work with is something I'm no stranger to, because when I started my own business, I had the bare minimum. But I'm actually really grateful for it, because it taught me to become a better personal trainer. When I was a trainer at a commercial gym, it was easy just to tell clients, oh, let's do this machine or let's do that machine. So when I didn't have those pieces of equipment, I had to use my brain power to come up with ways to mimic those movements. My gym, that's MIGYM, has come a long way since the beginning, but I still like to teach clients new and different exercises that they most likely have never done before, regardless of their fitness level. Different ways to lift something, or the speed on how a movement is performed, time under tension, unilateral movements, balance. I can go on and on. Like in this case, the dumbbell set here only went up to 50 pounds, and that may be heavy enough for most people, but doing the incline bench, I go a lot heavier. So to challenge myself, I used that time under tension method and went slow 5 seconds on the way down and slow 5 seconds on the way up. Your muscles don't know that it's only 50 pounds that you're lifting. All they know is that it was easy or it was hard. So by going slow, it made it a challenge for me. I encourage and challenge you to try either the incline dumbbell bench press like me, or any exercise. Try going slow, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5, doesn't matter, and see if that makes the movement more difficult. Today was chest and triceps, so finished off the workout doing different things, TRX Skull Crushers, which killed, and more. But I'll leave this workout, the sets, reps, etc. in the description box down below if you want to try it for yourself. And after a solid workout, we head west to play some cards. About 30 minutes west to a new spot that we never been to before, called BlueFelt El Paso Card Club. I did some research on other card clubs nearby and asked BlueFelt if I could film, and right away they were all for it. We get into a lot of craziness throughout the whole night at this new spot, so without further ado, here we go. The biggest game they had going was 1-2 No Limit, but it was awesome because the owner actually knew who I was and quickly spread the word that I was playing, and later on turned that game into a 2-5 round of each, which I'll explain a little later. But for now, 1-2, that had a $500 max buy-in, so that's what we start with, and doesn't take too long for us to get involved. Typically when people around know me or know of me, I try to get involved early, being relatively aggressive. We take down one with pocket jacks with a normal C-bet. Another hand, we open some Broadway cards, get a few callers, and fold to a big blind lead and low jack cold call when we flop nothing. The first interesting hand we get into is an all-in. We have ace-5 of clubs in the small blind. There's a middle position open to $10. The low jack cold calls, hijack folds, cutoff and button throw in $10. Action on us. And we see a lot of dead money out there. Ace-5 suited, a perfect hand to squeeze. So we bump things up to $50. The big blind gets out of the way. The $10 opener goes all in for $68 total. I'm like, dang it, not enough to reopen the action if someone got cute and called knowing we can't make it anymore. But luckily everyone folds and only $18 more for us, so we obviously call. He's probably ahead with a pair or a better ace, but oh well, we're in there. I flash him an ace. He says, you're ahead. I'm like, all right, sweet. He does flip his cards over, and sure enough, we are ahead. He has King Jack offsuit, and here's the run out. Squeeze right there, hand, you know. Clubbies? Clubbies? 10 of clubs. Hey, I said 10 of clubs, not just the 10, man. No, I know. Nice hand. We were very specific. What the heck? I'm a nice guy. What can I say? I want my opponents to catch good hands. Just want us to catch a little better. Nothing wrong with that, right? Glad it wasn't for too much though. The very next hand we win with the button straddle special. No one raises, so we just check our option. Flop a pair of fours, bet on 2 of the streets, and take it down. 2 hands later, we barely get on camera. We have ace deuce of diamonds in late position. There's a few limpers. We raise to 15. The guy next act goes all in for $66. Another one of those situations where it's like, really? I mean, we're probably behind, but can't be in too rough a shape, I suppose. We ask him, do you want to call? Just being friendly. He doesn't really say much, just kind of says, whatever, doesn't matter. So we do call $50 more. We both flip, and we do have the best of it. He has King 10 suited. Ace deuce suited versus King 10 suited. But just like last all in, the best hand loses. Right in the window too, a black king. Too bad the diamonds came at the end, so we lose that one as well and have to add on $100 topping off. Let's hope our luck changes with the third best starting hand in poker, the ladies. We're on the button and put on that $5 button straddle and come to realize a little too late that there's actually no max amount for the straddles. You can straddle to anything you want, so if you're looking for action, definitely a spot to be for that. The small blind is first to act, he limps. The big blind leaves his $5 out there. The low jack raises to 15. The hijack makes the call, as does the cutoff. Action now on us, and a great hand, third best starting hand, dead money out there. Yep, that's a recipe for a squeeze. So we do, and make it $65 to go. The small blind folds, the big blind though counts out chips, and he calls, which was very strange. He didn't have a worthy enough hand to raise, but now it's good enough to call $60 more out of position. I hope that didn't start the call train, because if we go 5 ways to a flop, I wouldn't really like our hand as much, but luckily everyone else folds. So we got what we wanted, heads up, and the flop is perfect. It's 8x5 with 2 hearts. He checks inflow to us, and we have a hold on this board, but gotta get value, so we c-bet $50, less than a third size of the pot. I don't think it mattered how much we bet, because he pretty much folds right away. An orbit later, we put on the button straddle again. We have ace-9 offsuit. There's a few limpers, the small blind, big blind, middle position, and cutoff. And we've been raising since we started, having that aggressive image, and I felt that players were lying in the weeds more than normal, allowing us to bet for them, and then they just call. So we just decide to check our option, not playing it sneaky, because let's be honest, ace-9 offsuit is not the greatest of starting hands. So can't really play it quote unquote sneaky, but we see a flop multi-way and flop top pair. It checks all the way around to us, and we have top pair. No one seems to want it, so we bet $15, just a filler / value bet. The small blind cold calls, not too concerning yet, and the other players fold. The turn comes off, a 7 of diamonds, now a full rainbow out there. Thinking he's gonna check again to us, but he doesn't. He leads for $25. Now it's a little concerning. Some background on this player, he was a young OMC, if you can kind of picture that. An OMC who was younger in age, but very timid, only showing down top end hands. He was slow to throw out any chips or make any kind of crazy moves, again, like an old man. He only has $30 left behind in his stack. And I just feel like we're always beat here. I don't know, a feeling combined with the player type. We show him our ace and tell him this is respect. Thinking sometimes we might get shown air, but he flips over a card and it's an ace of hearts. I'm pretty sure his kicker was better, or he caught 2 pairs somehow. I guess we'll never know, but I'm 99% sure we were beat. Not too long after, it's our first bomb pot of the night that we get involved in. Like other poker clubs in El Paso, they do a bomb pot every time the big red bomb pot button goes around, so once every orbit. And this one is 5-card double board, so like regular Omaha double board, but just with 5 cards. Everyone put in $10 pre-flop, and a few players decided to sit this one out, so only 6 of us going to a flop with $60 in the middle. And the top board comes 10-10-9 with 2 clubs, and the bottom board is Queen 10-4 with 2 spades. We have top set, so the nuts on one board and nut flush draw open-ended straight on the other. Not too much on that one since the board is paired. But regardless, the nuts on one board, and that's good enough for us to pot it when the small blind leads out for $25. I mean, what else are we gonna do, right? We have the best possible hand on that board. Let's put money in the middle. It folds to us, so the amount is $85, $60 plus the small blind's lead. The cutoff folds, action on the big blind, and he says F it and jams for $125. Damn it, it's not enough. It's not enough where it could have reopened the action. We raised it $60 more, so his raise would have had to been our raise plus 60. $85 plus 60, which is $145. There was some discussion out loud among some players if it was enough to reopen the action. I just kept my mouth shut, knowing it's not reopened. With that information, the small blind calls, and he has around $270 behind. And of course, we have to call and just pray things don't change on the turns. The turns do come, and they do change everything. The top is a 3 of hearts, and the bottom is the ace of spades. So the front door flush comes in on the board that we're going for. We no longer have the nuts. The small blind is first to act, and I'll just let you see the live video footage.
Call. That turn fucked me. Pair the board on the bottom, please. Queen on top.
Jesus Christ. I have a nut flush today.
I think I got fucked. Let's see. I got fucked on that.
On the top, 10-3.
It's a scooper, man.
10-3. Scoops aside.
I can't believe that.
Jesus Christ.
And getting it in good. Well, not really on the turn, but any of the cards.
Yup, all we were hoping for was a queen on top for top boat and a pair on the bottom for a full house, but we catch neither. All because the big blind didn't have enough in his stack. I mean, I guess it's our fault for not counting the big blind's exact chip amount. But we had the nuts and it needed protection, so had to pot it. Cause I bet if the action reopened and the small blind knew by him calling the action reopened, it would have either made him fold to the big blind's raise, or if he just calls, then we can go all in for his effective stack to put him in a really tough spot. And I'm not sure, but I don't know if he's calling almost $300 more with just a 10 on top and absolutely nothing on the bottom. Well, that pretty much stacks us. A huge pot, having the nuts, then getting kicked in the nuts by 4th and 5th Street. So what else are we gonna do? We add on $500 more to our stack, topping off, now in the game for $1,100 total. The night is young, so not too worried about it. Let's get it back. It's kind of hard to get back in the groove of things though, when this stuff keeps happening. We have ace-9 of hearts in the big blind. Seems like everyone limps, and we're not having it. We bump it up to $25. Only the under the gun 1 and middle position make the call, so we go 3 ways to a flop, and it comes okay for us. We hit top. Not really a good board though for our range, so we check out of position, and they both check behind. The turn brings a 4-liner, it's a 5 of hearts, and I highly doubt a 6 is in either of their ranges, so we bet out $20 for value. The under the gun 1 calls, and the middle position player puts in a raise, a check raise to $75. He was a decent player that could easily be making a move with just a flush draw, thinking we're full of it. So with that information, we call, and the under the gun 1 thinks, and makes the call as well. Hoping for a brick on the river, but it comes quite the opposite. It's a jack of spades. Flush draws get there, any 10 gets there. So we check, The under the gun 1 goes all in for $49. The middle position player calls, and we're so done with this hand. The middle position player announces he has a straight, 10-9 offsuit, and the under the gun 1 has the nut flush, ace-5 of spades. Having both of them absolutely crushed in every way, ace-9 versus ace-5 crushed, and top pair best kicker against top pair mid kicker. A lot of these hands having the best of it but not coming out on top is super frustrating. Same kind of thing happens the very next hand. The button straddles. We're first to act. We look down at ace-7 of clubs. We open to $20. Only the cutoff makes the call. And we hit top pair again, ace-jack-4, all diamonds. We can go either way with c-betting or checking on this board. We decide just to check, and he checks back. The turn is a king of hearts. We make a delayed c-bet for $15, and he quickly makes the call. The river comes off, a bad card. It's a 5 of diamonds. We check. He goes all in for $80. We show him we have an ace. And I think he thought we called because he shows us his hand, which I was not expecting what he had. He had pocket kings. Just smooth calling our open with pocket kings is crazy. And even if we c-bet, he's not folding the nut flush draw. We had him on the flop, but got screwed on 4th and 5th street. I'm not sure what else we can be doing. Bet more, bet less. Really, any suggestions, guys? Moving on to this hand, the very next table, or Orbit Bomb Pod, is against a guy to our right named Carlos. A super cool guy. We got to chatting, and thanks for the subbing to the channel. I really appreciate it. We're in the hijack in this one, and it's 5 card double board again. Only $5 this time though. So with $40 in the middle, we flop the second nuts on the bottom and a few possibilities on top, open-ended to be specific. The action checks all the way around this time. No one seems interested. The turns come, a 10 of spades on top and the ace of diamonds on the bottom. So nothing changed, which is good. Still have the second nuts. Added another straight out for us on top, but that's it. The blinds check, and the under the gun takes it upon himself and bets out $10. Carlos calls in the low jack, and that's not enough for us. We raise to $50, throw out 2 greens. The cutoff cold calls $50. The original bettor calls $40 more, and Carlos calls $40 more. So 4 ways to 2 rivers, and they come the 5 of clubs on top and 3 of diamonds on the bottom. So surprisingly, our hand stays the way it is on the bottom, second nuts, and brick the top board. So really only fighting for the bottom. And as long as someone doesn't have the ace something of hearts, we're good. Action checks to us, and we put max pressure on and announce pot. This puts the cutoff in the tank for a while. Someone finally asks, who's it on? Like, what's going on here? And the dealer says, action's on this side. The cutoff does eventually fold. The under the gun folds. And now it's Carlos's turn because he's in the tank. He talks out loud saying he might be 3/4. And in my head, I'm thinking the exact same thing. He does eventually make the call. And he has the nut straight on top and nothing on the bottom. So we're basically in the same boat. We did what we could to avoid the chop, but can't really fold the nuts there in his shoes. So we split and make a decent profit considering the size of the pot. The owner finally got enough people to agree to bump things up to 2-5. And of course, I'm all for raising the stakes. So let's do it. As I said at the beginning of the video, it's not just 2-5 no limit Texas Hold'em. It's 2-5 round of each, meaning one orbit it's Hold'em and the next is Omaha. So things can get interesting real quick. We end this session, I guess, just to make it easier to calculate at the end. We're in for $1,100, out for $386. So not good at all, but with the stakes now being raised, anything could happen. The max buy-in for the 2-5 is $1,500, so that's what we start with. And the first hand we get involved in, we play a big one with the same guy to our right, Carlos. And this game was not a real 2-5. There was just one blind, so one $5 blind. That was us now in this hand. We have Queen Jack offsuit, and I'm just gonna say small blind to not confuse everyone. It folds around to Carlos on the button, and he limps, and we just decide to play nice and check our option. The flop comes King 9-8 with 2 diamonds. We check in flow, and Carlos bets out for pot $10. We make the easy call with our gut shot backdoor flush, and the turn hits us. It's a 10 of hearts. We have the absolute nuts. We cannot lose at this point. We check since we do not have the betting lead, and Carlos doesn't disappoint. He fires out again for $15 this time. Like I said, we have the nuts, so not rocket science. We're gonna raise. We make it 3 greens instead of 3 reds. He makes the call pretty quickly, putting in $60 more. The river doesn't change much. It comes ace of spades, but it does put out a potential scare card for him. He was a more amateurish player, and I got that vibe based on how our conversations went. Never really played 2-5 before and was up a little on the session, or a lot I should say. He had around 2K in his stack. So I think that's the definition of a good session. Started with $200 and now has almost 2K. But this was kind of the same situation we were in the last vlog, having such a great hand, but the river might not allow us to go for the max value. Cause if he puts us on ace something of diamonds, his, was top pair, king queen, is now losing. Again, we didn't raise pre-flop, so it's unlikely we'd have that. But again, amateur players don't think of those kind of things. We can't let this check through, so we bet over the size of the pot and throw out 3 blacks. Went from 3 reds to 3 greens, now to 3 blacks. He takes maybe 1 second and snap calls. I tell him we have the nuts, and he flips over king 9 offsuit for top 2 pair on the flop. He was a nice guy, but I didn't feel too bad about it because he was still way up on the session, doing way better than we were, that's for sure. Even with that win, we still have a big mountain to climb to get back to even. A few hands later, we face Carlos again, and we outkick him ace 10 versus ace 4, so not much to go over there, but this next hand gets massive. We look down at ace 6 of diamonds in the hijack, the under the gun, or big blind in this case, because of the one $5 blind, opens to $15. The next to act calls 15, and the low jack to our right calls 15 as well. I like these little suited gappers, who doesn't? So we 3-bet to $55. The button throws in $15 out of turn, thinking we were just gonna call. The dealer tells him it has to stay, and the button, already with $15 in there, calls $40 more. The under the gun opener calls, the middle position calls, and the low jack calls. Shows you how much respect we're getting at this table. Already a big pot brewing, let's flop something good. And we kind of get our wish. It's okay. It's 9-7-6 with 2 clubs, bottom pair, open-ended, and backdoor flush. A board that shouldn't hit us, but did. So when action checks to us, I doubt a C-bet will fold out everyone, but have to eliminate all the BS. So we C-bet $125. The button folds, the under the gun calls, middle position player folds, and the low jack calls. So got it down to 3 players at least. Let's just hit our open ender. What do you say? A non-club 5 dealer? One time? And I think the dealer thought we meant 2 pair because he gives us the 8 of hearts. Yeah, it's 2 pair, a good hand, but now there's a 4-liner out there. Any 10 or 5 make a straight. I guess we can have pocket 10s or ace 5 suited sometimes. The under the gun, first to act, doesn't check and flow. He actually goes all in for $172. This is just sick, and what even makes it worse is the low jack doesn't take too long and calls $172. This is a no-brainer fold for us, and flip over our cards to show what we had. The under the gun has pocket 10s, and the low jack has jack 8 of clubs. They decide to run it twice and chop it up. 10s hold on the first run out, and the low jack spikes a 10 for a bigger straight, having a jack in his hand. So it was a super wet board for everybody. Everybody had a little bit of a piece. Under the gun having an overpair, straight draw. The low jack having flush draw, straight draw, and a pair. And us having the worst of it, having a pair and a straight draw. But still a non-club 5, and we win a huge one. Back to Omaha again. Remember the round of each. Every orbit it changes from Texas Hold'em to Omaha. And with the $5 blind, the big blind in this case, straddle to $10. We are first to act and look down at aces single suited and announce pot. Dealer says $35, so that's what we put in the middle. The low jack cold calls $35. The hijack folds, both the cutoff and button call. Small blind and straddler get out of the way. So off to a flop, 4 ways out of position. And we flop the nuts, or second nuts, top set. We have a great hand, but any one of these players can have a straight. So we check out of position. It checks to the button who announces pot, $155. So $155 is the price of poker. Is it the right thing to do calling it off here, knowing most likely he has a straight? I mean, he only has $47 left in his stack, but there are two other players behind who have money, but based on their body language, they don't seem too interested. I think it's a toss-up either way, but we're here to gamble. Let's do it. We call off $155. The low jack and the cutoff both fold, so heads up, basically all in already, hoping the board pairs. And I'll just let the rest of the video play out.
No. I have a lot of outs.
9 of hearts, told you. I called the 9 of hearts. I called the 9 of hearts for you, Daddy.
Appreciate it. Well, I had the spades too.
Oh shit! Yeah, on the jack. You had half the deck.
A jack, a spade, any paired board, like.
Yeah, he had what we thought he had. I knew no matter what we were drawing, and the spade on the turn gave us even more outs. So any card that paired the board, any spade, or any jack for a chop. So a lot of outs, well, over double-digit outs to help us out. And lucky for us, we hit one of those outs to take down the whole thing. This next Omaha hand is probably even more intense. We look down at 5s and 3s in the one blind. There's 4 limpers, big blind, low jack, high jack, and button. We just check our options, not sure what's the best move here. Just check and hope for the best. I know I've said this many times on the channel that we flop the world, but this time probably takes the cake in flopping the world. Cause the flop is 5-5-3. I mean, even our smaller pair we hit a set. This is wild, but also sucks cause how are we gonna get paid? Well, we can't bet cause I guarantee no one has anything. I'm sure of it. So we check and action checks all the way around. The turn is a king of diamonds, hoping someone caught a full house with pocket kings. We check again. The next act bets out for $25. The low jack calls. All right, this is getting good. The hijack and button fold. We just smooth call because unless we're up against top full house, a raise isn't gonna accomplish anything. The river is a 2 of hearts, no flushes, so hoping, praying one of them has a full house, kings or 2s. I think the best way to get the most amount of money is to check raise. So we check in hopes it doesn't check around. And right away, the guy to our left bets out pot $100. Sadly, the low jack snap folds. We take a little bit of time, Hollywood a little bit, and just fingers crossed it's a cooler situation, top full house versus quads. We announce pot. The dealer says $400, hoping for a call or a raise, to be honest. He tanks for around 30 seconds, and the longer he tanks, I'm really thinking he's going to put money in the middle. Or just announce pot. I mean, come on, it's just a simple word. It's just, yeah, just do it. Sadly, no kings for him. He folded. Still flopping quads is not a bad feeling though. As you saw in the last hand, some racks were out on the table, so some players left shortly after. There was another table going on. It was a 1-2 no limit Texas Hold'em game, and they came to our table, but most of them only wanted to play 1-2, so we had to drop the stakes. Which I'm totally cool with. Having more players playing is way better than shorthanded any day of the week. So this session ends, in for 15, out for 17, 16, so won a few $100 back. But some players come on over, and basically a brand new session starts all over. I think you'll have to wait and see till next vlog for that though, the conclusion of this entire night. So basically a part 2. Did we come out ahead or go home totally broke? I'm not sure yet. I might make that video for members only, just to reward the ones who have become members lately. I also have some other videos and shorts for members only, so if you want to check those out as well, it's only a few bucks. And I know a lot of people are about that New Year's resolution fitness goal stuff. So if you want training advice, nutrition advice, workout programs, become a member of the channel and hit me up. One last thing, I do appreciate the owner for allowing me to play and film. Also hooking it up with this sick BlueFelt hoodie. Fits awesome and definitely comes in handy now in the winter. Had a blast meeting everyone and playing at a new spot. Also grateful for the opportunity to capture some footage of this wild and crazy game we all love. But until next time, guys, hope you had a Merry Christmas. Hope you enjoyed the time you got with your families. Always remember, I'm Matty Ice. This is Gains Poker. Peace out.